Holly Morris is a filmmaker with her latest project, Exposure, showing this incredible mission to the North Pole, bringing a group of women from around the world. And she's a Chicagoan. First of all, Holly, welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you. Always great to be in this city. I love it here.
You love it. You love it here. Now, this film is taking us, I mean, it almost feels out of this world. How did you get connected to this project?
Yeah, so the vision for this expedition was actually the brainchild of a woman named Felicity Aston, who is a veteran polar explorer. She was the first woman to cross Antarctica solo. And she had this idea of bringing together women from different cultures to come together and try to make it to the North Pole. A notable thing is that all the women on the expedition, except for leader Aston, were novices, right? So most of them had never set foot in a polar region. So it's a great accomplishment for anybody, but certainly to lead a team of women who were maybe not even outdoorsy, much less polar experience to, well, I won't say whether or not they make it, that would be a spoiler, but to attempt to reach the North Pole is quite something.
And especially too with, this isn't a group of women that had worked together for 20 years and this was their mission. These women did not know each other. They come from different parts of the world. They had different experience. I mean, talk a little bit about capturing those moments and seeing it all kind of come together with them, for a common purpose.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that in an expedition like this, these high stakes expeditions and high stakes filmmaking, it's all about relying on one another, trusting one another, working together to reach a common goal. And those things all might sound a little trite, but in fact, you will never succeed at something like this unless you're firing on all cylinders in that way. So the film captures that in the characters themselves who had to sometimes overcome cultural differences, or just simply the tension that happens when you're on an expedition like that in extreme conditions of 39 below zero. You're pulling 100, 200 pounds of stuff behind you in a sledge. So they had to really come together to even make a good attempt at their goal.
I think, carrying the items, being in the cold are two of the scary things. But I think one of the points in the movie, when they're not even sure if the tent is going to stay up or you might fall through. I mean, you can't even say, I got chills just from that part of the film right there.
Yeah, I think what's hard for any of us to sort of grasp, and even when you're there, it feels like this too, is that the team and the film team as well, we're going over the frozen Arctic Ocean, the semi-frozen Arctic Ocean, right? Because of the climate crisis, there's less and less stable ice every year, right? So they are moving across, in some cases, sort of hopping from one chunk of ice to the next, moving their way north. And it's when there's snow on top of the ice, it's a little hard to sort of remember, like 6 inches below me is the Arctic Ocean and all that means. But we tried to capture that in the film and to sort of remind people of the stakes whenever possible.
Oh, exactly. Now, for a previous project, Adventure Divas, this was a quote that you said at the beginning of that. I have a perverse attraction to not knowing what is going to happen next. When did that become your motto? And is that what still drives you as far as the projects that you do?
Yeah, that's an old one, but I have to say that gets me in a lot of trouble, that sort of raison d'etre. I do a lot of expedition filming over the years. I do a series called Globe Trekker. I did that for many years for PBS. And then in my independent films, like Exposure and Babushkas of Chernobyl, which came before, it's all about exploring the lives of women in extreme circumstances, really, and what it means to when women come together, the sort of special alchemy that I believe can happen in terms of reaching one's own potential. So I guess I would apply that to my subjects and sometimes, hopefully, myself, although it doesn't always go so well.
See, men going off into space. We see Jeff Bezos and William Shatner and, Richard Branson doing that. And it's a good thing and a good reminder to see women doing the exact same thing, because I think they obviously are not getting the same kind of coverage as far as the missions and the determination and the things that they're able to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think polar expedition is, and, high altitude mountaineering and some of these activities are, they're boys club, men's club, but I will say this film is not your father's expedition for sure. You hear about, it's definitely an estro driven operation, and part of the hurdles they came up against is dealing with sex, not only the sort of physical elements, but dealing with sexism and the doubt in the polar community around their place at the table. But hopefully we will sort of change the narrative a little bit with this film. And you find out at the end of the film that they may well be the last expedition ever to have crossed over ice because of the deteriorating ice, Arctic sea ice.
And I think, especially here, in the Midwest, sometimes it's a warm day in December or something, we get, more floods, and it's like, oh, that you don't really see what the global perspective is. So that's why this film is important. I do want to ask, as far as growing up here in Chicago, I mean, especially a lot of your work always deals with international causes, women in other countries. Where did you get this global perspective from? And when did that become important to you at a young age?
Well, I guess I didn't start, until it wasn't until my 30s until I sort of professionally started working on the international stage. But I will tell you, as a young Chicagoan, my parents in 1973 pulled me and my 3 siblings out of school, and we spent a year in a van traveling around Europe and the then Soviet Union. And I, even though I was an 8-year-old concerned with the things 8-year-olds are concerned with, probably I was imprinted pretty young that there's a big wide world out there, and that there's value in engaging it. And so I suspect that those traits were laid young for me.
Was that after your dad played for the Bears when you guys went on that trip?
Yeah, so he played, I think he retired in 66, and we went on that trip in 73. And my dad, my mom, Jeannie Morris, was the brainchild. It was her brainchild, this year abroad camping, and 6 of us in a van, which is sort of crazy. But my dad was there too, every step of the way. So.
Do you still come to Bears games when you come to Chicago?
What?
Do you still come to Bears games when you come to Chicago?
Totally. I tried to get tickets to the Packers game Sunday, and I couldn't get any.
Oh my God, Holly Morris is in town. We got to get her some tickets.
I know. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, well, the Packers, listen, that's next level, right? A Packers Bears game. So yeah, I couldn't pull it off. But if anybody's got tickets, let me know. 5
p.m. AMC Exposure, going to be at the Chicago International Film Festival. Holly is going to be there. Q&A, introducing the film. What are you going to be doing there?
Absolutely. Probably both. So yeah, come on out and see the film. Exposure, 5:00 Saturday.
And she may be at the Bears game on Sunday. We'll see what happens.
Yes, we'll see.
Thank you so much for your time today, Holly.
Okay, take care. Thank you.